That's what it was.
Thank you for having it. Your lines on the director of strategic growth for scenario. So, I'm somebody who do my job. Yeah. Well, market. It's all about market. So what scenario is, I'm going to have to move it closer because I can't see. They're about the typo, I can't see. So what scenario is a happening platform to help you and your staff make decisions based on real numbers. And it's a forward-looking tool, not necessarily reverse. But you do have a historically. So what we see here on both of those screens, this is just a quick presentation. You go back to where we started. There are 3-4 weeks, maybe March or the holiday or so in there. So what we did, we took all the data out of your financial system and put it into this tool. What I just want to go through is just these things in a very wide overview of what you see there. So the first chart on you'll see there's surplus deficit, which is the historic look at what we can do. You see that big spike there. That's those ARPA funds that you have. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. Scroll down. There's the fiscal years down there. So you can see that one spike. I'm pretty sure it's ARPA, right? But there's still in a good positive position, moving to close 25. If we hop over to the next table, that on all the numbers on there, what you see here is just a quick historic look at revenues and expenses. Okay, that's basically what makes up the balance sheet for financial reports. So you can see as we scroll down a little bit, total revenue, total expenses, surplus deficit. The red numbers are there, right? You want money, you have a deficit. That you're all the numbers pretty much what they're getting. This is just a historic look. One of the other things, though, that you'll notice if you start studying this, 25 isn't up to snuff. That's going to be right. We're only, I think our snapshot of this data was kind of September-ish numbers, so we still have a quarter to go. Another thing is that all this work. So if you go through, and when you go to your tax revenue, you see there's a cost line on the left of that. And then under local neighborhood tax act, with that line there. So we're going to do that and go over to the right and remove the difference. It's not over here what we were. That's interesting. So, but people remind us of that's the only number I think. You know, as you start to familiarize yourself with this tool, you're going to look at some of these things. You're going to say, right. You're going to be able to analyze something. Yeah, this is in the past, what we're going to do is move forward to. If you go down to the okay. I have to get familiar with the area of the city. Everyone, you're maybe everything that's here. You have to understand. Government administration. This does have one functionality. And over one there. And see where it says so any number you see in any of these future forecasts is sort of it has to go to the trail to tell you where that number is. Okay. To get down to the Article 5. So if you go down a little bit more, you want to go down. If you want. Going down a little bit more. So this is a final report on initiative and module. So what this does, there's So here we see where we started to go out in working with startup. Here's all the projects that make the scenarios being set up. Here's what we want to accomplish, right? And with these we can put it on and build these different scenarios. So that's what it's like to grow the pool. So as you play it out, that's the one we started to build out. Okay? And we can also use that one, like that one, where it's like good and the speech there, that what we assume, the problem is that you go out again. There's going to fund that for $400,000. We already agreed what the number is, that we assume we want to go out and finance it. So we did a approach to build those scenarios and we put those and build that future policy in the book. First, what is it good for our credit rate? What is it good for our movie score? Those things built into this.
Yes.
We're looking at we can look at community parks, and so that's, I think, the benefit for us for long-term planning. So looking at different credit, what does that do a lot of money? What does it do if you decide to maybe give but the parking lot are and retailers. You can also put out retailers here. And look at okay, we can also negotiate that. What does it look like if we pay for it in cash? You switch these things around. Jason is about to do all of that and we're right now. But looking at this is to me the most beneficial part is sitting around in this kind of setting of these putting this up in real time, following things on and off, and looking at what even coming out of $1 million for capital projects next year. How do we spend that $1 million? And then we can move out. We can look at what we want to do. It takes that spreadsheet that we've been working on for the last 2 years and makes it something that we're able to edit and with numbers. This to me is the big selling. Putting all of the other so being able to grow back and forth and do this. It is crucial. And this is that long-term thing. This is our long-term success. Spreadsheet that we work so hard on. It's tangible.
Is there it seems evident that the variables develop everyone. What are the variables for right now in terms of the projects in how it's funded? I can imagine that as you go forward and you put actually, see that impact in obviously. Because we know that instantaneously you're going sometimes to change that occurs or an opportunity to plan. So would have had to do a lot of input from the find variables that look at or ask for a query to say, hey, what's it? And I'll give an example. Like a few years ago, we offered we were always like,
parking.
What's the impact of the money deciding what's that concept? You can make those types of changes.
Right, so, if we scroll, I think up, I just want to show you that text box that's up in there. So what we do, a little further up.
Oh, sorry. No, yeah, it's all good.
Here, you see we have a base scenario, one scenario, two, scenario three. So those things are all your real topics that we started to do. To answer your question, Tracy, rate study, big one we use as tool for. So we know our cost pretty much is for the sewer treatment plant. As insurance goes up, as cost of goods, maintenance goes up, where do we have to keep the rate to do a break even in this product? Will do that break even, or do we need to build a reserve a little bit for capital so that we can set up a bunch of different rates, 1%, 2%, 3%, and then look at how those our future, how over the top with some assumption. If we have room for growth, not to grow too much, but if we could partner with some of our other people and bring in sewage because we have capacity from another township, what does that look like? So we could build those together. Best case, worst case, and what we think it's going to be. The other thing that seems really big right now, this idea, we can do it for increased functionality. Okay. So, what's our best case, worst case contract? They want 6, we can do 2, and we build those scenarios out. But we don't have to be involved with that. We build those out on fly. You can add any of those scenarios. So it's pretty much endless. The rate studies are huge right now because, especially, you guys don't have water with all the initiatives. That initiative has been a big one. Sewer rates too, storm water, huge, and again, the negotiation with a different contract. Labor costs. Where it's real, do we have that person? Do we also positions? Do we have another position? Do we fill that position into retirement? A lot of those types of areas. So then you're just going to see, I'm not going to bore you with the numbers, but these are your actual numbers and how they pan out with what you see. So again, we're very early into this process. We started building out the sewer of glory because we know that's something we're going to have to do. So we started with that. And we knew what the cost was going to be. What that is. We're going to continue to work through the next couple of months to build for that. So like, yes, then anything you want to see what you're saying. Because I think it is going to be help see the future of the borough and keep it going in our effect. Thank you.
Just maybe more perception of what we're looking at. If you don't. This data is about like how it affects their bottom line. So this one, so we will get this one, maybe. Not one of you.
Yeah, just like,
We're still building it, so it's just me working in it. At some point, people will be able to. Think one permit would be great. The permit managers in the project. Just facilities. This would be great. So it's over the next 20 years. You know, I'll be prioritized. Yeah. All they mean is higher. And you've done that in the spreadsheet for fixing guidance, such a great school. And our goal was to have a 10-year plan. These things in this great. Just to be 3% increase or decrease in this for us. So I think in answer your question, I think
so it's almost to do. So he's not going to be able to go back to suicide, obviously. The other thing is all these reports are affordable and stuff. And I think it has a public facing. Once we get it moving, it should have a public facing. Needs to be on the website for people can see it. What you got it. I think the graphical.
How long do you work person?
It is back here, February, March, depending on weather, right? And we schedule it. And start actually going through this. So I think you'll feel very comfortable now. Other than that, I think you'll be very comfortable.
I think all people to train like we're supportive, so you know, our staff on what I think to be able to access. I don't know that everyone's going to be there and people will need to be able to do different things and we'll be able to identify that. But I'm confident by next budget. And also ideally we'll have access to everything as well.
So we just wanted to take tonight, like I said, we're a couple weeks into this, but we want to show you what the tool looks like, how it works. Of it. Right, everybody. February,
Yeah.
God willing,
Try it again.
we'll be back here. We'll answer some questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great evening. Have a great holiday.
We are in holiday event mode, for tonight, so I'm turning my mind back, but, I just want to mention, on the first one, Peter and this time. I think there was also. But this week, holiday related. Relighting, it's Friday night, starting at 6 o'clock. So we're not going to and pictures for everybody. Parade the next day is 11:01. 7 o'clock was 12 to 4, and I'm going to walk into the office. So, awesome.
Well, I still gotta go. Oh, we take care of. Because I was trying to find I was sad when said he wasn't going to run for second. Really appreciate it. Yeah, what do you think? Super. One year is a man we always we've been involved in our town. So he's been a critical thing. Budget off. Always. I should not have for veterans, all along the sea brought a team and allowed raising consumption for regular foreign, but also foster. Now we say something special. The Republicans, the Democrats, and the Independents, the people that sit up here could, frankly, some of us could be farther apart on the national spectrum, but inside this borough hall, you could tell it we're bipartisan, cordial to each other, and as weird as it is, because as I do this good, I think you will have my friends. And that is pretty old fashioned. Working just fine for us. Not just that idea, we always get along. This year alone, really, I walked away. And I wanted to cut some of your now. You do have one to do that to me too. Probably right now. But we can disagree. Somebody is up here because we all do our best. Finally, I don't want to sound more immediate about that, but because I started money, but think about what has happened in the past. Literally, the borough is our traffic light. We have a new borough manager, a new chief of police, a new public works, new office staff, new priorities, new budgeting systems, and a growing community behind it. I sat up here for a long time. So I can tell you that previous councils report a great deal of continuity with this council. I remember that they were calling for them to do more than any time in modern. And every single one of them was that. Don't do it often enough. But they're all of you solid. So, I say one more time. All of us. Really wondering, any of the and most especially, over to us. Good evening, everyone. Representative Stephen Montgomery. Okay. Whatever you need to do, we'll just take the orders. Okay, please come on. Congratulations to everyone here. So we have some new incoming members as well. So first off, I wanted to start off by saying, Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for the eloquent word. This is a very special program. You have consultants coming together to work towards the better.
and that is what is a testament to Ed here as well. We could not be further apart from the political spectrum and also maybe on the state political spectrum. However, I will say this, we are 100% locked up with the importance of rural governance and work. You spent a lot of time with me as well. Thank you for being able to spend this much time for no one. And also a lot of headaches. It's a core service and something that we all share in doing this work. So I want to thank you for all of your years of service to Stars and thank you for as much. Appreciate it. No particular word. So Casey took over as council president. Again, another example. We probably agree on a lot. Political things all the time, but there's a lot we do now. And that came out. We were able to spend some time on the truck. Actually going to Dunkin' Donuts, getting coffee right after the right on the train track. It was a wonderful time to So Matt, I want to thank you as well for all of your time spent serving for us. Time you gave, also for the amount of work you put into it. Again, during a very tumultuous time in history of life, as we've heard tonight multiple times, everyone can put their witness aside. And that was the best one. And seeing some of the stuff that you were able to do, the community beautiful, by the way. And also you're working for the first. Phenomenal, I really do appreciate everything. Continue to strangers and private citizens for it. Really appreciate it. Thank you. The next day, the northern side and the bottom side of people, we would step up and forth. And I was directed by this country scouts to gather additional information. School crossings were priority for the fixed funds this month. We already loved it. School crossings having school meetings this year. So we were out there about 15 days more days. So we were out there 7 bunch of crossing loading public to go. And on our next meeting, still the service committee, 7 students, is that one part on the project down. We found that this project participated in 10 that's veteran storage, membership, community groups, the monthly report on details, all the events. I'd like to thank all the partners with public works, the fire police, sheriff, and housing. Few things of note, and I'll finish up here. The officers and civilian staff, this week is negotiating for them. That happened in conjunction with the from the court of the not saying anything, Sergeant you order something quickly. On his own time, he went after the decision of compliance. Avoid fines and further issues. I can do this for that and stop it on the here. So, this is kind of more for the Council for 2026. I don't say anything just to say that. I got people who haven't heard me. I think the dedication they have, and there's some of you are here 5, 6, 7 times a month. In addition to the paperwork. But I appreciate you, I appreciate the support and the opportunity of this particular council. Those that are really on the best of luck, still always available. Two things that really resonated with me. At least once a month, I think we have a resident. And I think what the perception right now, I understand they were. I live very close to a visitor.
I asked Teresa in the last week or 10 days, you guys have that big trailer out there? And so what, I really can't say, but it's an amazing for what I frequently see are the cars that pass over the right pretty quickly, the cars that are coming back, like if you run 4 seconds to do it. That's not happening. And so, if that device is not if it's capturing the speed data, it will be accurate because cars will stop and see the corners and really saves the speed around the car. And I've seen over the years, the business sign has been down there, signs have been on there, seen runners showing barrels of wind. Some of it is downhill, some of it is people with just continue to order it, not an afterthought. There's cases they all know. If there's a simple line, you stop. Personally, I'm not now in the middle of the road and now the cars just stop and families are forward going across the road and the cars will still pass them on both sides, whether my perception is what you guys are doing response that every time someone comes in, what you have to put every time. Wonderful. That trailer out there right now.
Public Works Department report for month of November. We had a total of 801.5 million hours for the month. Some description of major activities for the month of November. Municipal buildings and equipment. We have repaired the 2018, repaired the replacement tower and liner and brackets inside of the housing, and also patched the housing to make that back operable. And also our 98 general highway work. Brush was completed early in the month. We collected 3.5 tons of brush. Collection, total of 475 yards have been collected per month. New street sign and pole at Mifflin and Cherry has been replaced. Banners have been taken down and moved. The tree is up and the Christmas lights are ready to be hung. We started already. So. Storm sewer work, we did some various inlet box cleaning. Sanitary sewer work, we installed inspection T at 46 Main Street. We also assisted the wastewater department at the Fairland District. Parks and recreation, routine bathroom checks and cross checks. Pickleball courts are open for use. The fence around the court will be replaced in the spring of 2026. All the replacement parts for the Rotary Park play equipment and exercise equipment waiting on the compound to happen installed. We assisted Eastern Opportunity Center at their conceding food back on Friday 13th. Swimming pool, leisure pool park, pool plaster project is in full swing. Water blasting is complete and hand chipping started. Once the hand chipping is completed, the determination will be made to test the good stuff. And the holiday hours, we have a total of 49.5 vacation hours, 120 holiday hours, and now overtime. It's what's making checks and trash. Yes. Yes. Yeah, we make a separate pile and then I give them to the office, I list of names to the office and they contact, the owner of the banner. Place, move forward and replace or,
Hi, good evening. I'm Kay Leader. I'm filling in for John Torrente this evening. I'll just highlight a few things in the report that John prepared, this solicitor's report that's been given to the council. Some items can't be highlighted because they're confidential, but obviously the ones that I'm going to highlight may be of interest to the public. Well, the first one is relating to the number of ordinances that will be discussed and potentially approved tonight. The ordinances for parking, streets, property maintenance, curbs and sidewalks, nuisances, rental properties, and skills games. My understanding is that there was a work session and the council was able to make recommendations after reviewing these ordinances. John did go ahead and complete his review and revised the draft ordinances and did incorporate all of the council's recommendations. And of course, tonight you will hold a public hearing, which is required by law for any ordinances that are going to be considered and potentially approved. The next item in the quick report is regarding the 2021 International Building Code update. John has begun updating the International Building Code, and the draft ordinance will be sent to Barry Isid for review. And at some point after the new year, there will be a hearing held by Borough Council. Just a couple more items. The standalone stormwater ordinance. This was reviewed by the Planning Commission at its November meeting, and the Borough engineer will be making additional revisions. And the Planning Commission will review the ordinance again at either the December or January meeting. And as you may all know, there are stormwater requirements in the Saldo. However, this doesn't cover improvements and construction on a single lot where there is 1,000 square feet of earth disturbance. So that necessitates a standalone stormwater ordinance. Police matters. John did complete the review of the civil service rules updates prepared by Chief O'Brien, and the civil service has a meeting in November where the rules were presented and discussed. And John anticipates the revised rules will be considered for adoption at the next meeting in January or February. And lastly, the employee handbook that I have been working on with Sarah, and then also with the chief recently, is completed. What we're going to do is get through December, and then at the beginning with the new council members, send it out for review and probably have a discussion about it. And I will give a presentation to the council, probably in executive session, so that you can ask questions and discuss and see where the major, any significant changes. We're pushing that to January so that it's not done in a rush, but it is completed, and it's been heavily worked on by Sarah, and then the chief and I have been looking and comparing it to civil service, collective bargaining, and police policies to make sure that there are no conflicts that might be confusing, and if there are, we added references to that. So that's all I have for the solicitor's report. Thank you.
Several ordinances.
Yes. Yes. Yes, if Sarah and I are gonna do that together, yes. And we'll give everyone a chance, the council and the administration and the public a chance to ask questions.
Yeah, one last question, because council.
Defer to, our business section.
Thank you.
And over the, and one of our, so good money, pretty pleasure. How many two private medical boards have? So expand. And in our early tenure, in fact, we had 4 committees. Yeah, but as an executive, my goal is as a council coming. I don't. Part of that. Work. People want to. It's been our dream. Dream, it's been my great pleasure. It's really easy. You know, for me, ground zero was ground zero is every day. And that's why one of the things that I'm really proud of Sarah is this mindset. So, and soon to all of her students higher than just what everyone brings that mindset. I think do that. Normally, so everyone has that easier in their lives. Yet volunteer so much here, and we say, as a resident, also. We want to hear from you, although sometimes it's hard to necessarily speak as a representative. The primary role of a counselor is as your representative. And that's something I think that I noticed everyone up here is very excited when the guys instead of just complaining in the office all the time. We're good when you guys say, hey, you're one of your counselors in your ward is Tracy Stephanie Costa. See, we like that because we can go out and do our due diligence. And I'm going to stop in a second. So the last thing that the committees really have served us well is and this is not negative. Sometimes the evolution of comedians is different. It used to be better than so very vague, which this moment still usable is to take that with the 2 or 3, certainly no more than 4, because that and that's not the primary goal. Analyze the alternatives and bring a strong discussions with Sarah and bring that strong proposal. That's how we use committees. You guys that are regular committees, that's how we and maybe an opportunity that could bring and have members to the community. And we just haven't been short enough to develop and but we do still task each committee with reaching out to members, subject matter experts. It's not perfect, it's a work in progress, but I'm really proud of it. I think I'm happy that I'm not walking with I don't think we're certainly this community. We're going to be better. That becomes through by Frank. But the one thing, and kudos to you guys for what we used to do is discussions. And then we were really rusty. We started, we charged ourselves to say, listen, here's what we looked at the budget. To always be should be and that is that's why it's going to be stairs to that simulation going to be after the first few steps, doing more conflict. As you know, she couldn't meet, but they were doing a lot of therapists, making these explanation better. And she comes to us by stuff. It has a lot of professional. She brings those experiences, not just she listens to professionals, benchmarks against others. It's only to get better. First, okay, that's what one second. 11.
Right, I really think we're running a little bit. The first one is your 2026 Eastern resolution. You always need to have one revision for what you is just the skill games, how to use games in the IT to skill games. And I think in there was 125, I think it's 200. there's matches for ordinance that is going to. Other than that, we went through uh, so if there's any questions or concerns, I think all of the teachers are addressed in this really giant document. I think about it. This is not changing because it was advertised. Some of the cost carryover numbers will be adjusted closer to the end. Which I crystal ball, I haven't got with it. So until that happens, those numbers are variable, but everything else is consistent with what we
So we're gonna open the hearing. So, Mr. President, you can entertain a motion to open the hearing to discuss the ordinances listed under C through K, 9 ordinances. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to, in the interest of efficiency, we're gonna go through each one, say a little bit about each one, and then after that, we'll go start back at the beginning and ask if there are questions or comments by council, the administration, or the public, and we'll give everybody a chance. So 8C is the 2026 tax ordinance, which is the general tax millage rate, setting of the millage rate for the general fund, fire, and library. Obviously, discount and penalties set. And do you have anything to add on that?
there are no changes. So there's no changes, which is highlighted in this is exactly the same as what
Okay, and moving to the D, or I'm just gonna say C, 2026 sewer rate ordinance having to do with sanitary sewer rates, amending the previous sewer rental ordinance to more evenly apportion the charges. That,
Yeah, so this, the rates are consistent with what they've been before. You remember in our work session meeting, we discussed this, so this ordinance has a $10 infrastructure charge per unit per quarter. That would be assessed and defined in there as that fee, and maybe specifically for infrastructure that would be the and be used for any. would have to be only changed the way to.
Okay, and the next one is E, skill game ordinance. Skill games are not gaming, it's not chance, but it's based on skill. And
So this is, we discussed it at length, again, this was, we're gonna try to keep us from areas that multiple people games with these applications and efficiently regulate the privacy to do a regulation, a registration. The proposal to council was let's try it for a year, we have it in talk, see if it's beneficial, and that's sure we can reassess. If we want.
And 3 items I just like to point out is obviously a license is required. There are no new, the entities cannot add new devices like this, and there will be a limit maximum of 3. Okay, the next one.
Can I ask a question now?
Yes,
Yeah, before we get to. I asked a question before that. I just go back clear on it. Just reminded about it again today because I did a open source thing against this. And I couldn't believe there was a gentleman right on the students. I didn't know what I had. Maybe it was right next to a ticket machine. So 2 questions. One is, I noted on there, it specifically said Pennsylvania scale game. And so he was like playing like he played a slot machine. And then it looked like the skill involved was sometimes like so differentiates in the preamble takes time to differentiate the skill versus unskill. I mean the point is still the same, but it's it doesn't necessarily have to have a payout.
I don't think that, we may not think the question, but I don't think that's the basic of how it's different. I don't think that's the terms of it. I was reviewing the definitions section, and I'm just going to read an amusement game, any mechanical, I'll summarize, used or designed to be operated as a game for the insertion of money, which rewards players. Okay, and then we call a skill-based gaming device. It offers cash payouts or monetary rewards where such rewards are predominantly determined by skill rather than chance. So the differentiation isn't so much about the prizes or the payout, it's rather the skill. And I'm not familiar with the particular machine that you're talking about, but I can find out.
Yeah, that's okay. And then the other thing we want to make, I don't remember what the difference was. From the district. And that was the other thing that in that particular story, I'm not making on that statement, but it's clear that there are Pennsylvania state management. I mean, they would have for the water emissions. But
and if that
our ordinance says something, but yet clearly disseminating alcohol beverages anywhere in the storage property. So it makes sure we're not conflicting against that. That was my
yes, and I would have to look at that particular situation, that particular device. It may be regulated under a state law, but we are in a position that we can enforce these particular, we can enforce this ordinance against these particular machines or devices separate and apart from any state enforcing its own law against a state device or a device that would come under the Gaming Act.
We can register the state. Unrestricted.
That's correct.
We're gonna basically
In our ordinance, it does address, when entities already have devices. So they are able to do that, they are able to keep their devices, but they still have to report them and register them. And then they can't, there's a limit as far as how many new ones and what the maximum is. Well, it depends on, not, if they're violating the state. No, I don't, I would have, I would look at that particular situation, but no, I don't believe, based on my first reading of this, I don't believe that they can keep it there if it's in violation of the ordinance. I think the location can be moved, but they can actually, in terms of having it there, they can still have it. It's not considered new. But what I think we'll do is, because this is a new ordinance, so I think what we do is we look at each situation. If you see something, that particular one, we'll take a look at it, and then we'll apply our ordinance to it and see, do we need to reach out? Okay. What I would do in that case is look very carefully at this grandfather. And I have to be honest, I don't know it well enough to be able to tell you for those particular ones.
I was under
But-
the impression that you want to force like existing. We would still make a register, but we wanted force them to make a big change like that, considering it's prior to the work. Not really understand like if you want like paperwork, like grandfather,
Yeah.
in that case, like, I think the best way of like these businesses existed before. You still need to find registration and expression. That we would.
I'd like to, but I think since there are so many questions, why don't we pull this one out? And I'll just quickly take a look at it while the other ones are being discussed so that I can answer your, I want to look at the enforcement provisions so that we're happy with it, because that's what a hearing is for. So let's make sure we have a good understanding that it gives us, the way it's written, it gives us the discretion to not enforce, because that if we're forcing unevenly, that can lead to problems as well. So I think what we can do is go ahead and unless there are problems with the others, we can pull this one out and just at the end make a separate motion on that. Now that'll give me a chance to just quickly read through that particular provision, since I was not aware that you have certain devices that are already non-compliant. Okay. I know, but it's a good question. It's a good question. Okay. Any other discussion? We're going to give you a chance to discuss all these after we just run through each one. But as long as we're on that one, any other questions on that one? Okay. Next one is F, which is revisions to the parking ordinance.
I think our work session. Revisions for the campers are being moved and living and restricting on kind of the And then we just need to find to make more form for all of them so that per DA is $2,000, which made it consistent. You don't see that throughout all of these ordinances. To the process.
And the next one is revisions to the street excavation ordinance.
So this one is definitely, this was something that we worked on. The big part of this is the opening of roads. How there was still roads that are open. So when people are coming into the street, we're seeing that we want them to be back and how we want to report once it's done to ensure that they're not having to
And that was T, and then H is revisions to the property maintenance ordinance. Those are. I have a question about one of those.
we touched on the dumpster placement, setting them in. That was a thing if people do not have a space on their property for dumpsters, because that's provision, which is the current practice where they would go to the police department to get a permit to put on the street. We do that currently for dumpsters. It was never memorialized in ordinance, so we have that in here. This also addresses stormwater and rain regulation on the property, and then addressing temporary storage boxes as well. And then in our discussion, expanded the exception provision to allow for a borough designee to offer relief in cases where it wasn't possible for people to. A borough designee. My choice. The code enforcement person is that person. In most cases, it's typically the financial or their designee or code enforcement officer. Yeah, I think the margin in some way, again, you don't have space on your property to prefer the street, and that is a safety thing with the street, and that's why the police department goes to the make sure that there's enough space for that to and again, not being memorialized in this ordinance. But there are exception provisions that we have after work session.
Okay, the next one is the revisions to the curb and sidewalk ordinance.
So this is where we just street excavations, just how we want things to return. So it's done a lot of in previous practice, a lot of that would be on the borough, where we would go out and make repairs things to their original state. This again, street excavation is as well with the responsibility of that. It is the responsibility of the contractor to return the street as they found into a standard that we set with the report on the timeline. Similarly, the excavation to avoid road survey and the contractor that uses it testing either 8 months down the road and it's still open. And then small and then we added again provision for extension. We have to discuss it.
And then we have the nuisance ordinance revision.
The only nuisance was I have provision for the stormwater. So when we did it, which would stormwater. and then I don't do changing that and to the back to that.
And lastly, revisions to rental property ordinance.
The biggest change here is the frequency of inspections. We would take us from a 3-year cycle to a 2-year cycle. We just split the program in the middle. The other big part is the environmental ordinance is not addressed. And that also requires the environmental section. They would really should set rules and guidelines. And also is better defining commercial units. And then addressing every one of those short-term rentals. Business and it's also kind of a rental, so it helps us to keep an eye on those. It also has the provisions for notice in case of occupancy at the commercial level, which is a current practice for this ordinance. There was some discussion of and I think it also says borough manager or their designee throughout the rental. It is borough manager. I don't expect them. So the provision
So excluding the skill game ordinance, is there any additional comment or questions on E, F, G, H, I, J, K ordinances, first from the council members? From any of the administration?
I just have one question about the parking lot. I know that the reason for that one, that the fire hazard, you know, I had inquired or I heard but that hasn't worked for
prepared
and also be a quick comment to the public discussing the sewer people. That was done with intention, to not want a rate to cover it. So somebody who has a contact structure that is something that tends to be smooth when you feel that
Okay, and any members of the public have any questions or comments on speed prepay excluding the skill game, because we're pulling that out when we're going to discuss that one. Okay, if not, we, Mr. President, you can entertain a motion to approve, C D, F, G, H, I, J, okay, and I would advise maybe whoever makes the motion to read, from the agenda, read the titles for the members, either one, as you go through.
The other thing that, you still, have a separate motion after you.
After I reviewed it, yes, I reviewed it, I've already reviewed it while we were. Yeah, I've reviewed it, so I think we should vote on the others and then maybe have a separate vote on this one and perhaps discuss what we want to do, whether we want to table it, but that involves cost, so I think in the interest of efficiency, I think go with the other ones and then we'll talk about that one as before we close the hearing.
Are you recommending?
No. One large motion is fine, as long as you read, the title of each, how they're described in the, agenda. You can have one motion and just list them all.
Okay, who's feeling your vote?
Well, ordinance 2025. Ordinance 2025-81402. Additionally, ordinance 2025-81503, amending Section also, ordinance 2025-81604, amending Section Borough. And ordinance 2025-815, amending Section Borough and sidewalk ordinance. And additionally, ordinance 2025-81806, amending Section Borough's municipal. Ordinance 2025-81907.
Minus 15. Sorry,
We're still in the public hearing, and you can take the vote within the public hearing. That's okay. Have you done it differently before where you close the hearing and then vote? Okay,
just in case.
that's fine. Okay, so what we'll do is,
Just like we discussed.
right,
So can we open?
we'll open a new hearing for,
For the public?
exactly, what we'll do is we'll close the hearing for, oh,
And then we'll open it up. But what we said is we haven't given the public a chance to discuss that.
well, we did it in reverse order. We didn't do it after the motion. Yeah, you're right. We didn't do it after the motion.
All right then, so. At this point, I have a close the hearing for. Okay.
Yes.
For items.
Except you.
Exactly.
Second? Yeah.
A second.
Always need a second.
Okay.
Okay, so while Sarah was talking about the other ordinances, I did have a chance to look more closely at each provision and see how it might apply to the mayor's question, and it is a good question. So there was some discussion about grandfathering. The way this is written, it's not grandfathering in the traditional sense that we're all thinking about it. It's what it says here is that under the, I guess we'll call it the grandfather section, but it's, again, it's not exactly grandfathering. No person who doesn't already operate a skill-based gaming device, once this is passed, will be permitted to have one. So it's sort of the opposite of grandfathering. Now, when we get to people who, or entities or people who currently operate a skill-based gaming device, they still have to obtain a license within 90 days of enacting this ordinance. The initial license will be for 1 year. That individual and any new applicants, they do have to have a small games of chance license, which is issued by the PA Department of Revenue. So that may be, I'm not sure if that was the sticker that you were seeing. Now, getting to the alcohol part, it's very clear, the way I read this, that we have a couple of limitations on alcohol. One, the device can't be used or played by a person who's under 18 or any person who's noticeably under the influence of alcohol. That's the first part. And that, the way this is written, to all of the gaming devices, whether they're there now or whether they're going to add more in the future. And as you mentioned, Mayor, the gaming device cannot be located within 5 feet of any portion of the location where alcoholic beverages are poured. And is 5 feet what you were thinking?
And 5 feet is like, you're saying you can't have one.
Right. So I think you might be okay. Or did you want it to be further than 5 feet? Yeah, so applying to all of them, the skill-based gaming device is not to be located within 5 feet of any portion of the location where alcoholic beverages are poured or sold, including but not limited to beer coolers, bar stands, liquor cabinets, wine racks, and any other display or arrangement of alcoholic beverages. So are the ones that you're thinking of a problem?
No, it's not 5 feet.
It's not that close.
This one, whatever.
It's not that, I don't think it would be interpreted as a cash register. I would think it would be the actual location of where it's served.
This one. So, the state. For what purpose is that? Well, they have these
Well, so this can be tabled. What I have to look at is what it's gonna cost the borough to re-advertise. I have to look at exactly the day that it went in the paper, and how much time will go by before you have your next meeting. Because, but I think there are enough questions that if the council desires, you certainly can vote to table this. You can have a motion to table it to your next meeting and have a chance to look into some of the concerns that you have.
But it also contradicts itself. I thought there was a person that said anyone who doesn't have one. have one, and then it further goes on to say that new applicants for this.
Well, I use the word applicants, what I should have said is application, because you, I would say that no one has applied for a license before, because we haven't been required. So, the way I read this, individuals who are already operating them may only have one, and they can have a license. They can apply for the license of the one they have, or they can apply for the license and have up to 3. Yeah, so I may have been describing it more. That's the way I read this. But it sounds like perhaps you need a legal memo from me and John answering your questions. So that, and if you're, and as far as cost, you know how much it costs. $200. You absolutely are.
So I'm not a resident, so. As far as I know, the Commonwealth has not granted. They call it skilled machine, because according to the algorithm of the machine, and this is what the manufacturers argue, is that there is an element of skill in the thing that has been brought to court. Currently, it sits in court and has not been decided yet whether or not they are skill game or a game of chance. So one would think a game of chance is like a typical slot machine in a casino. A game of chance, quarter in, or whatever the monetary amount is, and you let the thing spin and hopefully you win. That is a game of chance because you're not controlling the outcome. However, the makers, the skill games argue that the game of skill involved yields you get payout. Yeah. The Commonwealth Court made a decision to uphold these machines, and the industry that makes them is holding on to them. However, the Supreme Court has not gotten involved. However, the legislature was hoping to have these revenue sources, which have not been agreed upon. So here we are. If that is the case, then the state will come out with some kind of movement, either a law that is passed and signed in by the governor, or it's going to be decided by the courts, and whether or not they can exist. So I don't know what the future those decisions, those impact what you're doing inside. Going on that.
So one of the purposes of this ordinance is that illegal gambling devices or unregulated gambling devices or ones that wouldn't be permitted can be disguised. So that's the purpose is to get a handle on that. That's the purpose. So I think it's completely up to the council, but I don't think it would be. I think it makes sense to me that you have questions and you'd like to know a little bit more about the pros and cons, why this is being done, and exactly how it's going to be enforced and implemented. And I was not asked, I don't know how much discussion happened at the last work session on this. Okay, well, that's okay. I think you could entertain a motion to table this to the next public meeting. Or another.
Wow. In addition, not just you,
Right.
Sarah, that's not the outcome that we expected. And by the way, Sarah wasn't we fixate the comments. You know, you all find the reason for it. Well, I mean, there are definitely those things. Other models. But it's probably wise, otherwise. I, this means.
I think that leave it open-ended, and you could table this until such time as proper due diligence.
Okay. You know, the process is.
I'm sorry, I forgot one thing. I just wanted to note that all of the advertisements, proof of advertisement for the ones that were approved, they will be marked as part of the hearing as exhibits, and we still will be, proof that the, ordinances were filed with the county library.
Who has the motion of closed hearing for the second?
Oh, sorry, Stephanie. You just did that. They were. And then that, you know, I took over that field of machine and. Okay. Second.